Hey guys, Kev here, and I wanted to talk about the Rike Knives Tissot. I believe it's the Tissot 1, but this is the Rike Knives Tissot, and this thing is pretty wild. I mean, it is executed extremely well by Rike Knives. It has one unique feature that is very interesting, and it's a pretty large knife. Yeah, let's talk about this bad boy. So when you look at it, it looks like an integral handle, right? But this back strap actually comes off of the knife, and then the underside of it is exposed, which is pretty cool. We'll take it apart to that point. I don't think I'm going to take the whole knife apart. I just don't see too much of the benefit of doing that, but we'll see. Once we get in there, maybe we'll decide to go all the way, like that's what she said. But first, let's just talk about it. We have a titanium handle that is bead blasted. Then we have a, I believe M390 blade. Is there a, yep, M390 blade. This is number 81. And pretty cool how they hid that. So when it's open, you don't see it. And when it's closed, I guess you do see it. So, the one of the gripes I have on the knife is the studs. They're just not great for me personally. I usually miss it the first time and then have to come back and flick it again. I don't know if I'm just not digging in enough, or I don't know, I just kind of slip over these. The D10 is great. It also kind of seems like this would lift up or something. It doesn't. It's solid in that position, but it just kind of looks like it might, which is interesting. It's got some heft to it. I would venture to guess it's somewhere around 5 or 6 ounces. It's got good weight to it. You can see right here, it says Stylist Richard Wu 2024. So I guess the designer is Richard Wu. It does have a little bit of a vibe like, see if I can get it to flick, like the Microtech Anax or Anax, A-N-A-X, that they actually make. Rike makes it for Microtech, and it has that blade to it. Looks a lot like that blade. It's not the same, but instantly reminded me of that beautiful hollow grind. I mean, it is really tall and thin. This thing would be extremely slicey. It is pretty thick stock, but it's nicely rounded. It is bead blasted on top, so I'd be a little afraid of that rusting up in this area. Same problem I actually had with the Anax. My M390 Anax rusted. That sounded so wrong. Rusted pretty quickly. Bead blasting M390 just doesn't go well for me. I really don't like bead blasting much at all, but it does depend on the steel. Very cool when it locks up. You can see this kind of notches in place. It just has this sort of futuristic feel to it. The pivot's interesting. You can see it is dead center. Something I just noticed actually is you can get your finger in there and grab that tip a little bit. Not terrible. I mean, you have to dig in, but it's possible to grab it. I don't think that'd be an issue like in pocket or anything. This would be against your seam. You're not going to reach in like this. You're going to reach in like this. So unless you're left-handed carrying it in your left pocket, which I wouldn't recommend anyway, you should be fine. It does have a bit of what feels like sharp edges on the inner portion here. But it feels okay in hand, but if you really squeeze, you can feel a lot of those edges. Yeah, it's interesting. There's a little screw right there in the clip I just noticed. There's a screw, right? What does that do? T6. I wonder what that does. I don't see anything it would be holding in. Is there a ball under there? We should take this clip off and take a look at that. So I guess we are going to take it apart quite a bit. I don't think it's meant to be front flipped. I don't see a real good way to do that. You probably could if you, I mean, you're not high above the pivot. I don't want to shred my thumb. Maybe somebody who really gives it a risk could do it. Kind of like with this knife. This is a Divo knife. This is the Growler. Almost the same positioning of where the jimping is. Honestly, ours seems lower than the pivot. But if you grab the clip and you give it a good, see, I'm just a little bit scared because my thumbs are all jacked up. There you go. You can front flip it. It's a little easier on the full size one. Not really meant to be that way. Or I should say it's not meant to be a front flipper, but once you get the hang of it, it's something you can do pretty routinely unless you have a damaged thumb like I do right now. Anyway, very cool stuff from Rike. One thing I wanted to mention about the back strap, I guess we could get into that, right? We've talked about most everything else. Ergonomics, again, other than it being a little bit, you know, these gaps, you're going to feel them in the palm. You can choke up. You just got to be a little careful that you don't come up too far, but they did kind of round this area right here, I think on purpose, so that you didn't run into it and cut yourself. The plunge grind comes up to right about here, which is right behind where the edge termination is. So I don't know what that means exactly, but I wanted to mention it. We could talk about the stop pin later, but it looks like it's not in the way at all. So you could do whatever you needed to if you are one of those people who Dremels their knife. Okay, so the back strap, this right here is a little toggle. And if you look in here, you can see that that piece is popping up and down, right? So it's wrapping around that little post. So if you pop it down and then you pop it off of this area, because it kind of hooks down into here, you want to get it off of there first, I think. Let me see. I usually just give it a bunch of wiggling and eventually I get it off. Yeah, see how it kind of gets caught? Because it needs to come out this side first. You got to push down there and get it out of that kind of track down there, and then it comes off. So this is the back strap. It's an integral back strap. You can see there, that piece is the block that slides up and down, and the clip is attached and everything. Now, the one thing I wanted to say is it'd be cool if they offered a left-handed back strap. So in the future, you could buy a titanium back strap, same thing, that fit your knife, but it just had the clip over here. And maybe they could just make a handful of those and sell them for, you know, $50 or something. And people who are left-handed that have this knife could purchase that. And then, boom, they have a lefty knife. Very much like our design, the Fireball, that's coming really soon. It's a Stasa 23 design that we worked on with Nick. And we, the way we figured out reversing the clip was to create this backspacer that wraps around. And then depending on which backspacer you have, you either have a left or right-hand clip. And that would work here. Now, I asked Rike Knives, I said, I asked, what is the intention behind this? Is it just to show that you can do it? Because a lot of times they do really cool stuff, but they don't offer a bunch of accessories for things that you'd think might exist. Like for this, you would think there'd be the left-handed one, there'd be like different finishes and titanium, or like a zircotai one or something. I asked them, they said in the future they plan to make Ultim back straps that you could buy. So I don't even know if that would probably not even include a clip. You probably just get the integral back strap, pop it on, click it in place, and then you could put your clip on from this. So that was in the future. It's coming at some point, they said. So it doesn't seem like it was this big thing when it came to the knife that they wanted to do. I think they just wanted to show that they could engineer this. And I think that's cool. It's cool in itself. I just find it interesting that there's not usually a big program of parts that comes with it, you know. Very cool. So it is a normal knife construction under here, as you can see. Actually, it's a little bit slimmer than that. You don't have a backspacer. You don't have standoffs. You have this one pin, which actually you can pull apart. So you don't want to actually carry the knife like this. I don't know why you would, but you don't have a clip. But it is technically functional like this. I can, flick it open. I can close it, and it works. But you want the back strap on. The cool thing about this knife is it is a inset liner lock, something I personally love a lot. So the lock bar is mounted like that, and that's it. It's just that lock bar. And I do appreciate that because a frame lock under there would have been a pain, I think, and it wouldn't have worked too well left-handed. And this works in either hand pretty well. So let's see if we can take it apart and see what's going on with this clip and everything as well. So actually, let's see. Do we need to even take this apart? Because all we're going to see is a pivot, right? There's a T8 over on this side. And then this is going to come out. We're going to lift this up, and that lock bar is going to be a part of that. And that's all we're going to see is the lock bar in there and the bearings. So I don't actually think we need to go that far and take it all the way apart. It is definitely interesting. It looks like you could put skiffs in here. I mean, it's not like, all right, whatever. It's not like it's going to be difficult. I just don't know how much it's worth breaking the Loctite and everything. So right away, it looks like it's a T10. T10. Yep. And boom, there wasn't any Loctite, so we're good to go. There is your pivot. Interesting. Okay. See, this is why we do it. And oh, that pin was locking it down. So here is your detent ball, hole and track, your bearing, which is actually a size I've never seen before. And then here is your lock bar. Like I was saying, it's mounted in there. And that's it. That's your inset lock bar. That's something I love on knives. We do it quite often ourselves with Divo. And this is a chunk right here. This is titanium, obviously. This is steel, so that the lockup is obviously, M390 on a steel lock bar. Now, the bearing obviously is a odd size that you're not going to be able to probably get skiffs on these. It's one of those sort of pivot lock kind of sizes. I'm going to grab my skiff test fit card. So you can get this to help you determine the best bearings to order for your knife. And you can get this at skiffmadeblades.com. There's a, or skiffworkshop.com. There's a link down below. And you can use my code, LeftyEDC. That'll save you 10% on your order of skiff bearings, test fit cards, anything on the Skiff Workshop website. And they also have the finger bit, which will help you take apart knives with spinning barrels. Very, very great piece to have. Both are made out of aluminum, solid. They're worth your investment. I promise you that. And of course you can get bearings. So this pivot size is, I don't think it's going to exist yet. So it's huge. I mean, that's a 1/4 inch and it's not even close. So it's not something we're going to probably be able to pick up from Skiff to swap out. And I'm a little surprised they don't have a Teflon cage in there. And then there is your detent hole and track, and there's a little schmutz there. But everything else is pretty standard stuff, so we can put it back together here. That is definitely an interesting pivot design, though. You can see, actually, let's take a look at that. The pivot has notches, sort of like a D shape, but on both sides. And then that locks into this side. So instead of just one D shape to lock it in, you have two. And that really secures that pivot. That's very cool. I like that. So we would put the blade on. And notice how the bearing is in there. There is a pocket on this side. And there's a pocket in the blade as well. So the bearing can really go any way it wants. I usually try to put the ass end on these bearings. They have an open cage on the back. I try to put that side inside of the pocket so that if any debris gets in the knife, it won't get in there. So in this case, there's not much of a pocket on this side, right? There's more of one in the blade. On this side, it seems like there is a pocket. Well, not really. Let's see. Yeah, see, there's a little bit of a pocket there. But I would actually flip this over. Now, some people would argue you want to have the smooth side against the blade just because that's the part that's moving. So let's just go with that for now. That's probably how they had it, so let's keep it that way. Even though my instincts tell me to do it differently. So I'm just gonna lock this in place, put it around the D shapes here. See if we can do that. So put that down. Let me do this. Put that down. And then this needs to go top of the D shape, but it's possible. What is going on with this thing? It's possible that the D shape has to be a certain direction. It can't just be any which direction. Oh, the lock bar is getting in the way, that's for sure. So let's see, let's just push down a little bit and see if that helps. Is that locking? Yes, it's locking in place. Okay, and then we just gotta lock this pin back here like that. And then we need to put this back in, right? Yep. Back strap doesn't affect the pivot there at all. So I may come back with some Loctite once I make sure that this actually works the way I have it. And it's centered up. So it's centered up. It locks up just fine. No stick. Drops shut. Let's see if there's any play. Whoa, you hear that? Little bit of play there, but it could just be because we don't have the back strap. Tighten that down. No play. Still dropping. Yeah, it's just because we don't have the back strap on there. So what I'm going to do is hope it doesn't pop apart, but whatever. Take this and put it on here. Clean that all up. Now I'm going to use Loctite. I've been using a lot of Loctite lately just because we're talking about knives I'm going to pass around. It's possible somebody needs to take this apart or whatever, and I'd rather just have it be Loctited instead of glued in that case. But if it were my knife that I was, I mean, it is my knife, but if it was a knife I was keeping here, I would use super glue, but I don't need to right now. So let me just tighten this down, get it cranked. Looks good. No play. That's really tight, yeah. And it still drops shut. Beautiful. And then the back strap, you just slide on like this so that that hooks in. Then you kick it down. It's really easy to use. And then pop that up. And now it is locked into place. And you can see that tip is a little bit close there. Again, you got to kind of dig in, but it is close. So let's see. Now we have no play. And it's almost swinging shut. I mean, I could adjust that, but honestly, I prefer, there. I prefer it to be solid as a rock, and that'll break in anyway. So that is the disassembly and reassembly and a little bit of a overview / review on the Rike Tissot, I believe the Tissot 1. I'm going to pull it up on their website real quick so you guys can get a look at it price-wise, because I'm not positive what it is. And I do have a link to Rike knives and Tissot knives. Those are partner companies, websites, whatever you want to call them. So you'll see it in my descriptions, but it'll also be right at the top of the description in this video and the comment section. And if you use this link, it does help my channel. So it's up to you guys, but it does help the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. So just want to put that out there. They have some really cool knives. Like, look at this one. This is the Shadow. That's a very interesting looking. Oh, wow. That's an interesting knife. So similar design concept. Same studs, just a different blade shape and everything. Huh, interesting. This one is the Tissot 1. Oh, so now they're showing the, they're showing the Ultim. Cool. So there's the one with the Ultim backstrap, and there's the DLC backstrap. Wow, that's cool. So you have to buy it with the backstrap though. $395. So it's 400 bucks right now, which is cool. I mean, it's very well made. It's Rike knives. I mean, I think that the price is fair. They really make a fantastic knife. The construction, I mean, it's Riot level, if not a little bit cooler, just because of the uniqueness. But they don't have the these available separately. That's the one thing. So 3.74 inches on the blade length, by the way. So you're looking at 8 1/4 overall, something like that. Yeah, if it was up to me, I'd probably get the DLC one, just because it looks cool. But that one's $395. This one with tie is $365, and the Ultim was $385. It is sold out. That one also has blue accents, so very cool. I love what these guys are doing at Rike/Tissot. Just awesome stuff. So check it out. Let's real quick take apart this clip. I just want to look at what we're dealing with down there. That screw must pop something out that sits on the frame. So there's that. Let's see. So there's a little roller in there. Look at that. So it pops in your pocket easily. That's really cool. And again, unique. These are little touches you just don't see on other knives, really. Now, I don't think it rolls, but it doesn't need to. Because of the design of that, it helps it glide across. I don't know if it's supposed to roll, but maybe it does. There's a tiny little screw there. I don't know if it's a T6. No, it must be like a T5 or something like that. So we're not going to actually take it apart, but that's really cool to see that. There's a little roller so that when you put it in your pocket, it just rolls over. And then you can see how it goes in your, or locks into this spot right here. Instead of having an indent, they have a outdent. They have a raised area and a cutout in the clip to really lock it in place. That's interesting. Just unique stuff that Rike does. I mean, they really are a unique and interesting company. If you've never seen the Rike knives Alien, that's such a cool design. They're not going to be for everybody, right? But they just make really cool models. So that is the Tissot one. Let me know what you guys think on this knife. I think it's fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and pass this around, and we're going to get thoughts on it from some other people. And I'm actually going to pass it around with the Gen X Blades Primark, the Primark 6 in this case. So these two will be going around the pass around group. So keep your eyes out for those on other channels if you were hoping to get somebody's thoughts on it. But that's it. I love you guys. Big shout out to Rike Knives, Tissot. I really appreciate you guys for sending these my way. It means a lot that you let me check this stuff out. So thank you. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you later. Peace.